Hello there guys, welcome to another of my live videos and on this video this morning I'm going to be giving you an update on some more transfer news regarding Manchester United as they have been doing on a regular basis. We do now know it's not long now until the January transfer window opens, and of course we have got a lot of players on our agenda, and it is good that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is making plans for the January transfer window, because I think Manchester United are determined to back Solskjaer in January. They're also determined to back him next summer, because we are giving him at least a couple more windows to see who else he can recommend in to the football club. And Solskjaer can be the right man to rebuild the club. Solskjaer, of course, is looking to build a squad worthy the club's mystery in that. And I credit Solskjaer, because obviously he did recommend three good players to the squad during the summer. Obviously we spent nearly £150 million on Daniel James and Wan-Bissaka and on Harry Maguire, and they've all enjoyed fantastic starts to their Manchester United careers. And you can say them players that were brought in the summer, there you can say they've been our best players in that. So I do credit Ole Gunnar Solskjaer for that. I do believe we're orchestrating on spending a substantial amount next year, recruiting new players. I think at an estimated guess, we're going to consider spending from 250 to 300 million pounds. I think we're going to look to sign at least two players in January. But I think, we'll do the vast majority of our transfer business next summer. But Solskjaer insists, like he's recently said, that players to the elite level still want to join Manchester United, and that which is very, very good. And I think Solskjaer's still keen on continuing the policy of recruiting young British players to Manchester United, like he did do during the course of the summer. So yeah, so I think the players Manchester United could sign in January is Erling Haaland, perhaps maybe James Maddison, because of Erling Haaland is one of our main priority targets. I think also James Maddison is one of our main priority targets in that. Obviously, Saul Niguez has been put into the equation that, but next year we've got to get a couple of midfielders in. We need an attacking midfielder. We also need a defensive midfielder. We definitely need to recruit a replacement for Ander Herrera, and we also need a couple of attackers. We need to recruit a replacement for Lukaku and Sanchez, because you can say for the vast majority of this season, we've looked very exposed since their departures. I think you can also say we need a right winger. There's possibly other areas in the squad as well that need to be addressed. But I think the two main priority areas is that midfield and, of course, that attacking line. And I think we need at least 4, maybe 5 more signings, if we are to be back to being a competitive elite level football club. And if, we are to be back up there, challenging for major honours and that. So I've been giving you an update, haven't I, regarding Erling Haaland on a regular basis, because there has been a lot of speculation going on about him. As it recently got revealed, it did say that Erling Haaland has around a 17 million release clause in his Red Bull Salzburg contract, so could be available for reasonable figure in that. Obviously, a lot of clubs have attracted their interest in the player, reflecting on his good performances this season with Red Bull Salzburg. He has scored 28 goals in 22 games in all competitions. So this season he has been revelation for Red Bull Salzburg. The teams that have been interested: Juventus, Borussia Dortmund. Recent reports have come out saying that Erling Haaland is now having negotiations with Borussia Dortmund. He's travelled all that way. So he could actually not end up at Borussia Dortmund. I think Man City have also expressed their interest. I was reading also recent reports that did say we could be set to miss out on Erling Haaland in January because of Mini Raiola, because I think he's urged him, not to come to Manchester United. But I think it would be beneficial if we were to get Erling Haaland in, because obviously he's a prolific goal scorer. He's only at the age of 19. Plus, he's available for a reasonable figure, according to what his release clause is in his contract. And I think we should orchestrate on being sensible with our recruitment. It's not always about spending big on players and getting them Galactico players, because it doesn't always guarantee you success. But I would be excited about the prospect of Erling Haaland, playing alongside the likes of Rashford, Daniel James and Anthony Martial, and taking into account as well, he's played under Mulligan and Solskjaer's guidance during his period with Mould. So Solskjaer, of course, is keen on a reunion with the player. So there's still a lot of talks going on about him. I think we also instructed a scout, to watch him against Liverpool the other night. So we have scouted him, on numerous occasions and that. So I think he could be the first player Man United do sign in January. I'm not saying it's imminent that will happen, but it could possibly happen. The news regarding James Maddison, I've been updating you about him on a regular basis now. As you all know, he's been subjected to a lot of transfer speculation. Recent reports indicated out, I think this was stemming from the Daily Mail, saying that we could be set out to miss out on James Maddison because reportedly he's closer to signing a new contract with Leicester. Leicester have been in negotiations of trying to get him a new contract. So reportedly we've been interested in James Maddison since June. For my overarching view on it, I think he definitely would be the right calibre player for Manchester United. Would be very, very good in our midfield. I think, he would blend in very, very well. Can score goals in the midfield, can create chances. Very, very good player. And he's only at the age of 23. And now he is in his second season with Leicester. I think this season with Leicester so far, he's replicating, what he did in his debut season with Leicester. In total, James Maddison has made 54 appearances in all competitions since he arrived at Leicester, and he has scored 14 goals. Obviously, the vast majority of these appearances have come in the Premier League, because he's made around 51 appearances in the Premier League and scored around 12 goals in that. So obviously the vast majority of his goals and appearances have come in the Premier League. Obviously, don't forget last season he created more chances than any other player in the Premier League, so credit him for that. I think he created around, 100 chances last season. Leicester paid, only £20 million for him from Norwich in the summer of 2018. And he's still got quite a few years left on his current deal. I thought he had a good couple of years as well in the Championship with Norwich. He initially had a loan spell with Aberdeen, and when he was younger, of course, he began his career with Coventry. So he's another player, of course, on Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's agenda. Is predominantly an attacking midfielder, but can also, play out on the left, because Brendan Rodgers has played James Maddison on the left quite a few times. But I think, from my overarching view on it, I think if we had to convince Leicester into selling James Maddison, obviously we're going to have to pay a substantial amount. I think we're going to have to pay the same or a similar fee, to what we did do for Harry Maguire during the summer and that, because we paid £70 million for Harry Maguire. There was 10 million in add-ons, which did potentially rise to around £80 million. So obviously Harry Maguire is the most expensive defender in the world. He's the second most expensive signing at the football club. But you can say, that Harry Maguire has done really, really well so far. He's addressed our defensive deficiencies. And Lindelof and him, have complemented each other fantastically well in our back line and that. But maybe we won't get James Maddison, but it's just, there's still a lot of rumours, going on about him. But obviously, our priority now anyway is to get two midfielders in. So I think that's what we're looking to do in January. Obviously, another midfielder on our agenda is Saul Niguez from Atletico Madrid. Now, there's been a lot of speculation, regarding him recently. Now, do you think Saul Niguez, would be the right caliber player for Manchester United? And in the past, and that, we've inquired about, getting Saul Niguez in. Saul Niguez, of course, has not yet, ever played in the Premier League. Analysing it, he's actually spent the majority of his career with Atletico Madrid as Saul Niguez, the majority of his career. He's been their youth academy. Well, he joined their youth academy in 2008 and, risen up the ranks, and he's been in their senior squad since 2012. And since he broke into the senior squad, he's gone to make over 250, appearances for Atletico Madrid. He is a central or a defensive midfielder. He is only the age of 25, so you can say he is nearly in his prime and that. Again, he is going to cost the club a substantial amount. He does have a release clause of around 130 odd million in his contract. He's still got around 6.5 years left on his contract with Atletico Madrid. He's under contract with them until 2026. Obviously, initially a couple of years ago, Saul Niguez did sign a new 9-year deal. I just wanted to take into account. But it actually, could be more imminent that, we get Saul Niguez over James Maddison. I think, they are both comparison. What I mean is the two different players in that. But my preference would be definitely James Maddison out of Saul Niguez if I had to choose out of the pair of them. But it would be good if, both of them came in. But my preference would be James Maddison because obviously, James Maddison is Premier League proven in that. And there's obviously, a lot of other players on our agenda as well. Don't forget, there's still rumours, going on regarding Jadon Sancho. We've been long admirers of Jadon Sancho. Recent reports did say that Chelsea are the latest team to enter the race for him. I think Chelsea, are aware that it's going to cost them in the excess of 100 million or maybe even more. But any team are going to have to pay at least £100 million, to be swayed Borussia Dortmund into selling him. Don't forget Chelsea have had their transfer ban lifted, so I presume now they can do transfer activity in January because they did initially have a transfer ban for tapping around young players. And take into account Chelsea had done business with Borussia Dortmund because obviously they got Christian Pulisic for around 47 million pounds. We've obviously been long admirers of him. Liverpool have expressed their interest in Sancho. I don't see how he would fit Liverpool's system, if I'm going to be quite honest with you. I think he'd fit our system much better. Real Madrid have been in there for him, but Jadon Sancho recently revealed that he wants to leave Borussia Dortmund. I think he did say next summer. I think Borussia Dortmund are determined to keep him at least for this season, because analysing it this season, Jadon Sancho's been dropped in games for Dortmund. He's been dropped in games for Dortmund this season. He's not satisfied at Dortmund at this present time, and now he's currently into his third season as a Borussia Dortmund player. Obviously, analyse his performances, in a couple of years he's been with Dortmund. Obviously, his valuation has persistently grown because take into account, Borussia Dortmund only paid around, 7 or 8 million pounds for him from Man City, and that's also beneficial as well. He's had experience of playing in the Premier League. He served a couple of years with Man City, but City couldn't really assure him first team opportunities, and this is the main factor reason why I left Man City to join Borussia Dortmund. He's still under contract with Dortmund, by the way, until 2022. But he is primarily a right winger, but you can also play him centrally, and is only the age of 19. Jadon Sancho's runs on and off the ball are good. He can get in good positions, he can create chances, he can score goals and that. Definitely would be the right calibre player for Man United. But, we was in for him in the summer. We identified him as our number one priority target back in January. But like I said, with our failure to qualify for the Champions League, we didn't get the pursuit of Jadon Sancho. And I said, Champions League football is always very, very, very beneficial anywhere, when you do want to attract players to the elite level. So yeah, these are so many players on our agenda and that, and a massive rebuild is needed at the football club. Don't forget, recently, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer sorry, Ed Woodward. He recently assured Galactico signings at the football club. But I think our board and that at the start of this season did say, regardless of the outcome this season, they said Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's job, will be safe. Because, the board realised, that they didn't back him enough, during the course in the summer. So they're determined to back him in the next couple of windows and that. And like I said, there's only 3 players that are Solskjaer's. Obviously the vast majority of these players are Jose Mourinho's, because taking into account, Jose Mourinho spent a substantial amount of the club. He spent, 400 million or just under 400 million pounds. And, Solskjaer's inheriting the vast majority of his players. Don't forget, the Stu players, even Louis van Gaal era, there's Shawry, there's Martial here, and a few others in that. Obviously, there's still Mattery from the David Moyes era. There's still around 2 or 3 players here from the Alex Ferguson era and that. So it is going to be a long rebuilding process. And even recently, Gary Neville came out and he said, we need to sign at least 2 players in January. Scholes said not too long ago, he said Solskjaer needs at least 3 to 4 more windows to turn things around at the football club. So we definitely need to see more incomings. I think there's definitely there's definitely still players here that are no longer good enough to represent the football club. So I do believe we need to orchestrate on getting rid of another 4 or 5 more players at least next year, definitely. But I still said anyway, I think, we need to see a variety of changes at the football club. I think definitely our board have been a liability for several years. So I think, we definitely need to get rid of our board. I think also Ed Woodward, he's someone you can't rely on him, and he's definitely a liability. So we still need to see a variety of changes at the football club, definitely in that. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see, who we can obviously sign in January. But yeah, so Solskjaer does need the time and that, and you've got to say, reflecting on the wins against Tottenham and Man City, you've got to say them 2 games have saved Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's managerial tenure at the football club. I think the game against Man City is definitely, Solskjaer's best game so far in his managerial career with Manchester United. I think his 2 best games are the Man City game and the PSG game. That's whilst he was interim manager. I think that PSG game was one of his most iconic moments as manager. Last season, when we overcome a 2-goal deficit, and obviously, won the second leg by 3 goals to 1. So we have had some good results under Solskjaer. Despite the fact that we've enjoyed our worst start to a Premier League season for 30 years. But like I said, if we hadn't beaten Tottenham, if we hadn't ever beaten Man City, I can assure that Solskjaer would have been sacked by now, because reflecting back before the Tottenham game, he was under intense pressure. But like Ed Woodward said, he's still determined to stand by Solskjaer, so he probably believes he's a long-term solution for Man United. And obviously, if we did decide to sack Solskjaer any time within this 3-year period, then obviously it will cost the club. It will cost the club something in compensation to get rid of him and that. But I just don't. I'm very, very sceptical that we're going to get rid of Solskjaer at this present time. Don't know about where the long-term future, but I still believe he will be here in January. He will be here at the end of the season. He's got a 3-year contract with around £7.5 million a year. Like I said, but Solskjaer has been at the football club now for a year. He's been here a year. He's been here for 1 year. He's been a permanent manager for around 9 months. Obviously, analysing the vast majority of that 9 months, obviously, we do know it's all gone wrong. You know, in comparison to the time when he was the interim manager, because he did really well in that 3 month period when he was the interim manager. And obviously, you know, my perceptions were different then regarding Solskjaer, because I thought then he was the right manager to elevate Manchester United forward. And I think, you know, that's that's one of the mistakes out of the several mistakes we've made over the last 6 or 7 years. You know, we shouldn't have, you know, give Solskjaer the job, or maybe we should have done, but we should have waited until a later stage, you know, to decide or not, you know, whether he's the right candidate for whether he's the right candidate, you know, to manage Manchester United. But yeah, we do definitely need to give him more time. You know, who's to say if he is to be given another 2, 3, maybe even 4 years, who's to say, you know, he can't emulate into another Alex Ferguson? Like, I'm actually very, very sceptical about it. You know, I don't think Solskjaer can invoke Ferguson's legacy at Manchester United. That's my overarching view on it. Maybe I could be proven wrong, you know. But I think regardless of who our manager is anywhere, you know, they'll never invoke Ferguson's legacy. You know, we'll never replicate, you know, what we did under Alex Ferguson and that. And, you know, because we was fantastic under Alex Ferguson, you know, he had, 20 odd years at Manchester United, did Ferguson. I think it was around 26, 27 years. Take into account, you know, he didn't win out in his first 4 years at the football club, you know, when he got recommended in for Aberdeen back in 1984 and that. He didn't win out in his first 4 years, and at that point, he was one game away from getting the sack, but obviously, you know, he didn't. Then look what obviously after that, look what he went and accomplished. You know, he won 38 major honours during his long tenure with Man United, did Ferguson. You know, so the vast majority of the silverware we won came under Alex Ferguson. But yeah, so maybe if Solskjaer's given the time he's demanding, then maybe he could emulate into Ferguson. You just never know. But you like I said with Ferguson as well, you know, he controlled the transfer policies, he controlled a lot of the contracts, and you know that winning mentality and that fear factor was there under Ferguson. You know, since Ferguson era, none of that has been there, and I'm hopeful that Solskjaer can bring that winning mentality and that fear factor back to the football club. You know. But according to Solskjaer, anyway, you know, he believes he's following Alex Ferguson's philosophy. Like I said to you though, these some aspects of me, you know, that do credit Solskjaer, and that, you know, like, you know, he's got a lot of trustworthy in his young upcoming players. You know, a lot of the young players have been given their opportunities this season, which is very, very good. Obviously, I think in certain games as well, you know, we have showed tactical flexibility in that, because I know that's been my element of concern. One of my element of concerns regarding Solskjaer for the vast majority of this season is because he has been tactically naive for the vast majority of this season. But these certain games where, you know, we've showed their tactical flexibility, you know, which I'm delighted about. Obviously, I also credit him because, you know, regardless of what happens, you know, whether his managerial tenure at Man United works out or not, we'll never forget, you know, what he has done for the football club. This is obviously, you know, when he was a player, because he was a great long-serving player for Manchester United for 11 years. He flourished under Ferguson's guidance, and obviously Ferguson transformed him to a winner. But obviously, you know, as a manager, I think his comparison to as he was as a player, because he hasn't got that pedigree behind him in terms of management, you know, and I just don't think he's, you know, got any intuition on how to, you know, manage, especially a big club like Man United and that. And, you know, I may be proven wrong, but like I said, one good result or a good couple of results, you know, doesn't change my perception regarding Solskjaer. You know, if we was to keep this good run of form up until, you know, at least March or until the end of the season, then maybe my perceptions would start to change regarding him. But you can't just all of a sudden change your perception after a good couple of results. But like I said, if we got rid of Solskjaer anyway, it wouldn't solve problems at the football club. It wouldn't solve many. He wouldn't solve many. But like I said, you know, our results against elite opposition this season so far have been absolutely fantastic. So that's something that's improved, which is a good thing, because our record against the top six sides last season was really, really poor. This season we've beaten Man City where, we've beaten Tottenham at home. We drew with Liverpool early on this season. We're the only team to register any points from Liverpool this season in the Premier League, that is. It was a very, very good point, was that. We also, beat Leicester early on this season, even though it wasn't a fantastic performance. We also beat Chelsea at the beginning of the season by 4 goals to 0. So we've done well against elite opposition this season. I think, we just need to improve against lower opposition. That's something we do need to improve on. But we have momentum has been building recently. There seems to be more confidence in the players. We had 2 good performances. Good performance against City, good performance against Tottenham, and hopefully now we can replicate that form in for the rest of this season. That I'm hopefully that we can anywhere. We are now sitting 5th in the league. We have registered 24 points from 16 games. We are just now 5 points behind top 4. And I know, 2 or 3 weeks ago, I fully disregarded that top 4. Because it was looking obviously very, very unlikely it was going to happen, and you can still say that I'm sceptical about us getting it now, but we're only 5 points behind, because Chelsea lost to Everton recently, by that was last weekend by 3 goals to 1. But we are only 5 points behind. I did say, didn't I, that we need that top 4 this season to get Champions League football. I did initially say that's our expectations this season, is to finish in that top 4, because we didn't expect us to win the league this season or mount any kind of title challenge up. But yeah, top 4 now is definitely still on. I think we could win the Europa League, definitely. That could happen. I think it's with more of a chance of getting into the Champions League by progressing in the Europa League rather than getting in the top 4. That's my perception on that. But the good news is, we are already in to knockout stages the Europa League. Don't forget, we're already into the knockout stages with 1 game remaining. But I think, we definitely are good enough to win it. But we need Champions League football secured for next season. But I think anywhere our aspirations will be that top 4 in the next couple of seasons. Definitely. But I think for us to be future title contenders, like I said, it's dependent on how we are with our recruitment in the next couple of windows. We've got to get the right caliber players into the football club. I did say, didn't I, before, it would be beneficial for us, to get a director of footballing. It would be beneficial for us to get a director of footballing, because I did say, didn't I, that's one of the structural changes that we need to see the football club, and that is getting a director of footballing. There was quite a few former Manchester United players linked with the role during the summer. Edwin van der Sar was in the equation, but he's no longer now in the equation, because he recently signed a contract extension with Ajax, so he's no longer now in the equation. So shame with that where we didn't get one. Shame, that we didn't get one. Obviously, the good news is as well, recently, players have stepped up to the plate, and that, that's also a change I have seen. Like I said, Marcus Rashford has done really, really well recently. I've been very, very impressed with Marcus Rashford. He's been in scintillating form. He's scored 10 goals in his last 11 games for the football club. 3 goals in his last 2 games. 1 against City, 2 against Tottenham. Should have arguably been more goals he should have scored against Tottenham and Man City. And he's doing really, really well. And I know I criticised Marcus Rashford earlier on this season due to his bad performances. But I still said, during his long bad spell, that he's still a long-term solution for the football club. Rashford is only at the age of 22. So far, he has spent the entirety of his career with Manchester United. He's been in the senior squad of us since 2016. You know, he's been a United player overall since the age of 7 and emulated himself up over the years. He's now scored just under 60 goals in 191 appearances in all competitions for the football club. And I also think his record against the top 6 sides has been good. Rashford has obviously, for the vast majority of this season, played out wide because obviously now Martial operates in that central role. And like I said, Martial is more effective in that central position. Got to say, I've been very, very impressed with Anthony Martial. He's done really, really well. I think he's been a revelation for Man United this season. The games he has played in, I think he's replicating, what he did in his debut season for the football club. This was under the Louis van Gaal era. We got Anthony Martial as just a 19-year-old, and he's a very, very good player. He was recently out of a muscular problem. He was also out with a hamstring injury early on this season. That kept him out of action, for a long while. But Martial now is into his 5th season at the football club. And he's scored 54 goals in 187 appearances in all competitions since his arrival from Monaco back in 2015. He predominantly plays out wide, but obviously this season, when he has been playing, he has been playing in that number 9 role. But Martial he's good at getting them runs in behind. His finishing assets is good. He's also had more inspiration in that attacking third of the pitch because he does help the likes of Daniel James and Marcus Rashford, and they do complement each other fantastically well, I've got to be honest with you. Got to say, I've recently been impressed with Jesse Lingard. Solskjaer obviously, admitted that, he's been affected by his off-field issues. Jesse Lingard was injured earlier on in the season. Obviously, there's reports now saying he could miss the Alkmaar game because reportedly he sustained a knock in the 2-1 win against Man City at the weekend, so could miss the Alkmaar game and that. But yeah, I know I criticised Jesse Lingard early on the season, due to his bad performances and that, and he wasn't performing to the standards as we should expect of him, but recently has done well. I also got to credit, Fred and McTominay, because I think, they've been absolutely fantastic, Fred and McTominay for us. Recently, they've complemented each other well. I've got to say, with Paul Pogba's absence, I've got to say, Fred has fulfilled his position really, really well. And, the question is, if Fred and McTominay, can keep this consistency up, can they emulate into 2 Galactico midfielders? Fred has been a revelation recently, and I do agree that we overpaid for him, because we paid, £50 million for him from Shakhtar Donetsk last summer. That's what we paid for him, and he's on that list of one of our most expensive signings, but he's only been here since the summer of 2018. He was an exceptional player at Shakhtar Donetsk. I know analysing the vast majority of his career with Man United so far, he hasn't replicated what he did at Shakhtar Donetsk, but, we're starting to see, how good he is now, Fred. With McTominay, like I said, he's been a revelation this season. He's been a consistent starter, but he's deserved to keep his place in the team and that. Don't forget, he's just recently recovered from an ankle injury as McTominay. And obviously, when he was absent, we had to, go with Pereira and that, and Pereira and Fred, and we know that wasn't really working out because you've got a lot of Manchester United fans, that are demanding managers Pereira out of the football club, because a lot of Man United fans have got strong reservations about him, and I have, to be quite honest with you. So if we could move him on, then I think, it would be very beneficial if we could, move Fred on. Andres Pereira on, sorry. But yeah, they've done really, really well in that midfield. But obviously, when Paul Pogba, gets back into that midfield, it's going to be very, very beneficial. Like Ryan Giggs recently said, it will be the next step, when Paul Pogba, does return from injury. He is still out with an ankle injury, is Paul Pogba. He's been out with an ankle injury since September, so he's been out with injury for 3 months as Pogba, and you can say he has been a big miss in that midfield. He has been a big miss in that midfield, and Solskjaer's obviously praised him recently, and Solskjaer said when he does regain full fitness, he will play loads of games. Solskjaer said he's hopeful that Pogba, will be back before the end of the year. So he's set to miss tonight's game against Alkmaar. He's also set to miss the Everton game at the weekend, and he's also set to miss the Colchester game in the quarter-final in the Carabao Cup. You know, I still believe anywhere that Paul Pogba, you know, wants out in the football club, definitely wants out in the football club, like he did do for the entirety of the summer transfer window. I was reading recent reports and it did say, you know, we've opened the door for Paul Pogba to leave at the end of the season or before the start of next season, obviously. You know, could possibly leave in January, but I think his preference is still a move to Real Madrid. Obviously, there's been talks in the past about him going to Barcelona. Don't forget there was reports about him possibly making a return back to Turin because Pogba did enjoy 4 good years in Turin with Juventus, and you know his vast majority of his performances at Man United have been totally comparison, you know, to the ones to his ones at Juventus. Pogba's still got 18 months left on his contract, by the way. There is an option to extend it by a further year. And as you all know, he's on around 290 grand a week. But Pogba's 26, still in his prime, still got a lot of years ahead of him. But he revealed, didn't he, at the beginning of the summer, that I wanted to leave Manchester United because he said he was seeking for a new challenge. So he won't be playing against Alkmaar this evening. Diego Dalot, I can't really say out about him because he hasn't played much this season due to injuries. He's just returned to training. Solskjaer confirmed it's a bit early for him, so Dalot's going to be obviously not going to be playing tonight against Alkmaar. You know, he's one of our backup options at that right back position, so Dalot's not going to be playing tonight. Solskjaer revealed that Nemanja Matic is obviously no fit. He's set to make his first appearance for the club in over 2 months. The last actual game he played was the reverse fixture against Alkmaar in that 0-0 draw. Matic has obviously not been out with a groin problem. As he initially lost his place in the team anywhere due to his inconsistency because it's comparison to last season, because last season Matic was actually our first choice. But I do believe he's probably one of the players anywhere that's going to leave Manchester United next year. So Matic is fit. Bailly, Fosu-Mensah and that are still out, and so too is Rojo. I think Rojo's out until January with a muscle injury. Luke Shaw, he's just recently recovered from injury as well, don't forget, which is obviously very, very good because he was initially out with a hamstring problem. Don't forget Tuanzebe is just recently recovered from a hip injury, and I think in the games he's played in this season, he's also done really, really well. But Solskjaer, like I said, in tonight's game, he will make a variety of changes. He'll go with a lot of the young uns. But obviously, we only need the point. We only need to draw the game, or obviously, win the game to finish top of the group. But regardless, anyway, we are already into the knockout stages of the competition. And I think, like Solskjaer recently said, resting players against Astana, was very key because he recommended a young squad to Kazakhstan. The vast majority of the young players, were teenagers. Around 14 of them were teenagers, and he handed 7 debuts out in total. But interesting to see what team he does go with tonight. So like I said, guys, there will be more videos coming up soon. Drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do consider subscribe as always, and take care, God bless, and I'll see you all again very, very soon. Thanks for watching.